King John's army is moving forward in sleet and rain. It's January in the year 1500, and the army has just left Meldorf in Dithmarschen in North Germany. The course is now set for Hemmingstedt, and at the front of the army are the mercenaries of the Black Guard, one of the most notorious and brutal mercenary armies of the time. The leader of the mercenaries is called Junker Slentz. He has made sure he is paid handsomely for fighting for the Danish king. In truth, neither Slentz nor any of his mercenaries are particularly interested in Denmark, Dithmarschen, or King John. They fight for whoever pays the most and hope for the chance to raid some villages on the way. People like Junker Slentz and his army of mercenaries were an established part of warfare until modern times. They were professional warriors who were allowed to plunder during the campaigns as part of their wages. They could be quite brutal on these occasions. But in 1657, the Danish king Frederick III enlists an army to wage the war for him, an army made up of people like Junker Slentz and his mercenaries. When the war ends, you would usually dissolve the regiments again and send them home, or onwards to new assignments for other princes. But Frederick III chooses to employ them on long-term contracts. From this moment, Denmark has a permanent army. These commanding officers are transformed into government officials on this occasion. They get on the permanent payroll, permanent contracts, and they become bound to the king by strong ties of loyalty. Most of the soldiers were German or Polish. Many of them had been enlisted in the pubs of their hometowns. In the early 1800s, nationality was given considerable attention. Now it was the people who had to defend the country. The Danish army should consist of Danes. The enlisted army was abandoned, and instead, exclusively Danish soldiers were conscripted. Compulsory military service was introduced, and when the Constitution was signed in 1849, this military obligation came to include all Danish men capable of bearing arms. It became the conscript army that was to protect Denmark right to the end of World War II. From 1951, enlisted soldiers re-emerged. In many ways, the enlisted soldiers of today resemble the enlisted soldiers of the 1600s. They are hired on a contract, and after having signed, they are bound to do military service. But there is a big difference. Present-day enlisted soldiers do not fight for any random, perhaps foreign, king. On the contrary, they fight for the country that they are part of themselves.